Welcome back to the A15 Exchange. I am your host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live from the 336 for episode 52 of the A15 Exchange. We are one episode away from this being a year. Crazy to think about, right? It's been an insane month, insane past month on this channel. Exponential growth, so that's always awesome to see. It really feels like I'm starting to hit a stride content-wise, which is always enjoyable, and especially for like the podcast, not so much the other stuff I drop on this channel. It's just kind of like it's cool because it's not like football season. It's about basketball season. It's supposed to be kind of a dead period, though the Olympics helps out, of course. And it still feels like we're kind of hitting a stride here. So we love to see that. If you guys are enjoying the content, remember to like, share, and subscribe. As always, it helps the channel grow and, makes me feel good. So if you want to make me feel good, then feel free to do that. Next week, we got a very, 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 very big episode coming, along with the fact that it's about to be the 1-year anniversary of the A15 Exchange. Got some things planned, hopefully for you guys that you'll enjoy. It was a very interesting week in sports. It was very up and down for American sports. But just overall, it was a very, very interesting. A lot of things happened this week in sports, and we actually have an entertainment segment today. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause. We actually do have an entertainment segment today, so that's all great. But yeah, let's see. What should I start off with? Oh, as always, I did not mention this last episode, but I mean, if you've been watching for an extended period of time, you should know by now. Timestamps, as always, are in the description. You're looking for a particular segment, soccer, the NBA, MLB, whatever it is, feel free to skip right to it. Feel free to skip right to it. I know this is a long show, a long podcast. Feel free to skip right to it. If that's what you please. And as always, my social medias are in the description or at the end of this video in the outro. You can follow me on TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, IG, whatever it is. Feel free if that is what you please once again. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight to the Gold Cup. Yes, we're going to talk about the Gold Cup because I want to talk about Team USA. The good. Before I talk about the Olympics and everything else that's happened with Team USA, let's talk about the good with Team USA. Let's talk about the U.S. men's national team. Because my goodness, in the Gold Cup final, of course it had to happen, we ended up facing our biggest rival, Mexico, El Tri, and El Clásico. Our El Clásico, excuse, at least. And typical CONCACAF game. Not as wild as the Nations League game. The Nations League game was a little bit more crazy, though that also was featuring both of the A teams. But it was still, CONCACAF fouls. Ref did a much better job than the Nations League final here in the Gold Cup. But yeah, it had everything you would imagine in CONCACAF. And yet again, we go to extra time. And yet again, it is a late minute winner for the U.S. to lift the Gold Cup. Miles Robinson. Miles Robinson is a king. I think I tweeted this out. But Miles Robinson is a king. He has to. There are certain guys off of this team that absolutely have to be in the World Cup qualifier rosters. They absolutely and have to be going to the World Cup. Matthew Hopp was great all tournament. Matthew Hopp was great. Kellen Acosta also had a phenomenal tournament. This last game, the final against Mexico last night, he looked like he was N'Golo Kante. It was insane. And I was a guy that was kind of down on Acosta, but he made me a believer. He made me a believer in this Gold Cup. And then I've always been high on Miles Robinson. He is the future of our defense back there. Dude was a wall. He was a wall. Every time we needed to stop when somebody was attacking, he made it happen. Matt Turner made a bid for number 1. I know we got Zach Steffen. He gets all the hype. He's, considered the heir to the throne as the number 1. But honestly, Ethan Horvath, Matt Turner, these guys are making bids. It's nice to have depth. It's really nice to have depth. And I think America showed that we're emerging and appearing to have depth. Nico, oh my goodness. He had the 8 for a reason. He was great. Busio showed glimpses of the potential that he has and why every club in Italy wants him. It was Daryl DK. He had the bright moment early on in the group stage. Didn't really finish and didn't come on in the final. Still a lot of upside there, but clear that there's still some development that needs to go on. Hit a little stretch of bad form. Jaissy Zardes came in and put in some great shifts, right? It's just Rodon. I could go on and on about this team and how impressed I was. Sam Vines. It felt good. It felt good. After the heartbreaks we've had the past 2 years before this year, not making the World Cup, not making the Olympics, the turnover in managers, and seemingly was this generation really the golden generation for American soccer? And they came out this summer, and what a summer it's been. What a summer it has been to be a U.S. soccer fan. The iconic moment in the Nations League, and then another iconic moment, getting the double, winning the Gold Cup, being the Continental Champion is so sweet. It's so sweet. It's so sweet. Did it with our, some are saying our C team. I'd say maybe B- team. Getting it done there, and then the A team getting it done earlier in the summer. It's just, what a time, man. What a time. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive, man. But yeah, great stuff from U.S. Soccer. I'm super, super duper proud of the guys. And yeah, you can let me know what you think, because right now it's looking like soccer's coming home. Yeah, not football. Not football, talking about European fans. Soccer is coming home. We're winning the World Cup. No, we're not. But it's, a man can dream. A man can dream. We got to qualify first, of course. But, got to be, optimistic. And now that I've gotten with the good stuff that happened in American soccer, right? Let's head over to the Olympics. Let's not waste any time. Normally I make this the main event, right? Because it's the main event in the sports world right now. But I'm not going to waste any time. We're going straight to the Olympics because we've had some things transpire, especially in the last couple hours. Start off, U.S. women's national team lost to Canada. We lost to Canada. After the highs of winning the Gold Cup, anybody that follows the U.S. soccer, program, it was not good. It was not good. The women did not play a good game at all. At all. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. The chemistry it just wasn't there. And my dad mentioned this to me this morning, and I was like, I think I felt this way after the Sweden game. I was like, something feels a little off. It doesn't feel like this team is in form the way they were 2 summers ago. Yeah, 2 summers ago now. When we won the World Cup. It doesn't feel like that team has that same... It just wasn't... We just weren't functioning on all, the machine has to go. But it didn't feel like parts of the machine were going. And we struggled. Rapinoe struggled today. Just everybody struggled. It just wasn't a pretty game. And Canada got a win. We outshot Canada, but we didn't take advantage of our opportunities. And in the Olympics, you got to take advantage. The Olympics are all about opportunity. It's all about opportunity. It's all about being able to take advantage of opportunities. Whether that's to preserve yourself, or that's to, do something maybe people didn't think you were going to do. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on in this segment. But, we didn't take advantage. We took the L. Congrats to Canada. They move on to the final. Well deserved. And yeah, we just gotta... It feels like we have this tournament that every so often where we get on this great run, clearly the number 1 team in the world, dominant, right? This era. It's like, oh, yeah, we got all these great players. But... we have a game or a tournament where we have a letdown, and we have to use it to refocus this. So hopefully this is what this is, and it's not like a stretch, and Vlaco's just about to tear the program down, and we're about to falter. But just that tournament down where helps restill that hunger, hopefully, and we can move on. Moving on to basketball. Luka Doncic is now 16-0. That is correct. 16-0 with the Slovenian national team. Not in the Olympics, of course. They haven't played 16 games. But overall, with the Slovenian senior national team, he is 16-0. They beat the number 2 team in the world, Spain. He's even though the man scored 12 points, had his worst game technically of the Olympics so far, still had 14 rebounds, which led the team, and 9 assists. He just finds a way to win in Euroball. Again, I said it last episode, maybe it's just because it's home for him. Maybe it's just because it's something familiar. It's what he's used to. It's the style that fits him like a glove. And that's why he and Slovenia are just so good in Euroball. In Olympic basketball. So, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens next. I know the USA finally got back on track. We had those scares early. We had a rough start. But, thanks to KD and Tatum, we won the last 2 games, beat the Czech Republic to advance. And, yeah, looks like Team USA is back on track. Going for that gold. We'll see what happens. I still do not want any smoke with Slovenia and Luka, but it's nice to be back on track. In swimming, man, oh man, oh man. We had swimming come to an end, and Australia was dominant. Even though Ledecky got her revenge against Ariane Titmus in the 800, which she won. Katie ended up with, I think it was 2 golds, 2 silvers, or 2 bronzes. 4 medals in total, which not bad. She's still the GOAT. Proved that she is the GOAT. Adam Peaty dominated for Great Britain. Great Britain had a nice end. I know they won the mixed medley. They had a great inning. Peaty, again, just dominant in his event. But if I had to give an MVP to the women and to the men, the MVP for the women is absolutely another Australian swimmer, but it's not Titmus. It's Emma McKeon. Oh my goodness. The most golds by an Australian, the most medals by an Australian swimmer ever in an Olympics with 7. She had 4 golds, 3 bronzes. McKeon was a monster in the pool all week. I mean, she was the boogie woman. We usually think of Ledecky in that way, but McKeon was the boogie woman. It felt like she made finals all week. And yeah, 7 events. It's not easy to run all of those events and be successful in all of them. We saw how some other athletes struggled with, some fatigue. But McKeon was a machine. She was a machine. Shout to Australia's swimming program. Y'all put on and McKeon 7 medals. That's just insane. One of the greatest Australian swimmers, after this, has to be considered one of the greatest Australian swimmers of all time. And she's well on her way to becoming one of the greatest female swimmers of all time, if she's not already. Caleb Dressel was absolutely, undisputably, through all of the great male performance, Caleb Dressel is the best male swimmer on God's green earth. 5 golds. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5. 5 golds. Every event he ran, he got a gold medal. Well, excuse me. That's not 100% true. But every event that he medaled in, he got a gold. So, I don't think anybody had more than 5 golds. I don't know if anybody's got more than 5 golds. There may have been the archer for South Korea. I forget her name. She might be close to 5 golds, but I don't think anybody has 5 golds so far in the Olympics. So, I think he leads that for just everybody. But yeah, Dressel, he's a beast. He's a beast. He's an absolute beast. I don't want to compare him to Michael Phelps, but in the sense of the hair to the face and the, top dog in American swimming, Caleb Dressel is absolutely that guy. He is absolutely that guy. Moving on to the track and field arena. Women's 100. I know a lot of people brought up Sha'Carri and, what she would have done. But honestly, she may have got a bronze at most here because Elaine Thompson-Herah and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price brought it again. But that wasn't all for Jamaica because they got the clean sweep thanks to Sharika Jackson getting 3rd. A clean sweep in the women's 100 for Jamaica. Absolutely insane how good their sprinting program is. It's absolutely insane. There's something different going on in Jamaica. Elaine and Shelly and Sharika, they all seem to have beef though, which is interesting. Even though they'll probably win the 4x1 and might break the record as well. Probably the favorites to break the record. As Elaine broke the Olympic record of Flojo. In this, 2nd fastest woman ever now. it's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic between them. Of course, Shelly Ann's old coach is Elaine's old coach. Shelly Ann left. There's a lot of rumors about that. It's just an interesting dynamic because they don't seem to like each other at all. But here they are, dominating in the 100 meters, dominating sprints. So yeah, congrats to Elaine on the gold. In the men, we had a big time upset. Lamont Jacobs of Italy. Out of nowhere, out of obscurity, wins the 100-meter gold with a 9.8, I believe. In even more shocking news, Trayvon Bromell just didn't have it. He was the overwhelming favorite. He had the world lead this year, but he just didn't have it at the Olympics. He just didn't have it at the Olympics. After he was dominant, unbeaten all year. Trayvon Bromell running 9.8s, 9.9s. He may have dipped into 9.7. He just didn't have it. He just did not have it at the Olympics. He couldn't get under 10 seconds, and it cost him. He didn't even make the final. But I got to give a shout out to Fred Curley. Dude is a 400 runner that came down to 100, trusted his training, trusted the process, and it worked out. I had my doubts, but Curley proved that he's a true, he's just that versatile, man. He could do the 100, he could do the 200, he could be amongst the world's best in the 400, of course, as we all know. He's a special talent. He gets the silver here. Andre DeGrasse, one of Canada's great sprinters ever, and a former fighter and native. He gets the bronze. Shout out to DeGrasse. The 200 should be very, very interesting. Shout out to Lamont Jacobs on the win. What else? Jasmine Camacho Quinn this morning beat Kenny Harrison in a very thrilling 100-meter final. Well deserved. She's been the best in the world. It's crazy that Kentucky had her, Kenny, not at the same time, but they did have Camacho Quinn and Sid the Kid at the same time. So there's that. Gymnastics. Simone has been out, even though she's about to make a return. But Suni Lee put on. Shout out to Suni Lee. Uber talented 18-year-old. She's the future of probably gymnastics program, if I'm being honest. She wins the all-around title. So yeah, shout out to Suni. Shout out to Auburn, War Eagle. What else happened? Jade Carney won today. So shout out to her. Shout out to Jade. She won gold. American gymnastics, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Whether we have the GOAT or we don't have the GOAT, of course I'd prefer if we have the GOAT. But if she's taking, time off for mental health, got to get that straight. That's important. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We got the talent. This isn't a one-woman show, and I think we proved that. And yeah, shout out to Simone, though, for working through this. It's a tough situation. Regardless of, she could have won absolutely nothing, like no medals, and still been the GOAT. The greatest gymnast to ever live. So, yeah, shout out to Simone. Definitely shout out to Suni, though. Big ups. But, yeah, that's the Ollie. All right, now we're going to head over to the entertainment segment. Yes, we're heading over to entertainment. We actually have a full entertainment segment, as we had some things go down in music, and we also had some television stuff. So, let's talk about it. Starting off with OBX. OBX 2, one of the shows of quarantine last summer. One of the shows that helped get me through quarantine. Shout out to Tiger King also. One of the big shows that popped off on Netflix. OBX 2 came out, and it's actually been good. I haven't finished it. I think I'm on episode 7 or 8. It's been good so far. It's actually been good so far. I was a little worried that they might go a little bit overboard or it might go, too much in one way. But it's actually been good. It's actually been good. So, yeah, shout out to OBX, shout out to Chase, shout out to Mads, John, JD, shout out to Rudy, shout out to Charles Easton, shout out to Madison Bailey, shout out to the 704, because she shows up, if you don't know already, to explain that, Madison Bailey, her girlfriend, plays basketball at UNC Charlotte. I go to UNC Charlotte. So shout out to them. But yeah, OBX 2. It's been good so far. Highly recommend it. If you've been watching, you're looking for something to watch, feel free to watch it. Isaiah Rashad, another thing I haven't finished. Isaiah Rashad dropped his new album. Have not gotten around. Because there's been so much for me to watch. Because there was also some stuff I was watching on Twitch, that's been super compelling. And No Pixel, shout out to the No Pixel community. I have not gotten to Isaiah's album. Like, I started the first song, like, twice, and I haven't been able because something's always been caught up, or I've been playing something else, or I've been busy doing something else, recording something, out and about. It's always gotten in the way. I'm going to listen to this album. If it is the last thing I do this week, coming week, I will listen to Isaiah Rashad's album and get you guys an album review. I will absolutely do that at some point in time, but just not on today's episode. However, Silk Sonic got tired of leaving the door open. I mean, it was a great song. Don't get me wrong. It's a great song, and off of that one song, they somehow won Best Group at the BET Awards. But yeah, Silk Sonic finally dropped another song called Skate. It was another smooth track. Once again, whenever they decide, Anderson and Bruno decide to drop that album, it's going to be one of the albums of the year. But they just keep... they playing games with us. Honestly, I can't help but laugh because they playing games. They are playing games with us. But yeah, Skate, great track by Silk Sonic. If you haven't listened to it already, feel free to do so. Leave the door open and skate. We got two. When's the album, though? Just like Drake, when is the album? Skepta. Big Smoke. King of Grime? King of the British hip-hop scene. Surely a legend over there in GB. Skepta dropped an EP, even though I swear he said he was retiring. But anyways, I'm not going to complain. But Skepta dropped a nice little EP called All In, and my. It was a great EP. It was a great EP. I felt like, Skepta's been very active these past 2 years, honestly. But this was it was a great project. It was something small, it was a nice little EP. 5 songs, all slapped, all made the playlist, all good stuff. Highly recommend. Skepta, All In. Of course, no rating because it was just basically like a mini album or, an extended play. So, no, rating, but it was very good. And I highly enjoyed it, and I'll be listening to it for a while. My British play, I'm very happy about all of the recent my drops from all of the British hip hop scene that I listened to, because it's helped me refill that playlist so I can just keep it going in rotation. So yeah, shout out to Skepta, shout out to Big Smoke for keeping it going. Now let's move over. We'll do the MLB last because it was wild. But we're going to talk about the NBA here, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to talk about the NBA. The NBA draft was this past week. I know I said a lot of stuff about what I was going to do. Once again, I got very busy and a little bit unmotivated. I'll admit, I'm human. But we are going to talk about it today. Hopefully this clip makes it to somewhere else besides this platform. But we are going to talk about it today, and I'm going to ask the audience a question pertaining to how you felt about the draft. Number 1 overall pick was Cade Cunningham, as expected. Cade, jumbo-sized playmaker, dude's an incredible talent. He's Cade. It's Cade. You know who Cade Cunningham is. You know about his talents. Nothing really else to say. JG went 2nd overall. Thank God Houston ended up making the right choice there. And really, I'm going to talk about Houston a lot after I talk about this. But yeah, JG, he's the unicorn for a reason. He's a special talent. I think a lot of people underrate how special he is. You just need to watch him play. Watch the footage, watch the film, and you will understand he's not just the super popular highlights guy that does a bunch of crazy stuff online. Dude is he's a monster. Evan Mobley, as expected, goes to the Cavs. He goes 3rd. Those 3 were pretty much as expected, right? As expected. I think that's a great fit with the Cavs. Mobley to the Cavs sits him right beside Jared Allen. I think that's just a great fit, in my opinion, because it allows Mobley, and I almost think he might be better suited as a big 4. As a tall forward, because he's a 7-footer. But putting him alongside of Jared Allen, maybe who's better suited against other centers, I think that could be a really, really good fit and could really help Mobley reach that potential that everybody talks about with him, and had some people list him as the number 1 overall prospect in this class. The big shocker here was the Toronto Raptors. Musai must know something we don't, but not that Scotty, don't get me wrong, Scotty Barnes is a great player, right? But interesting to pick him over Suggs, but they do. They pick Scotty 4th. It may work out. Especially if Scotty, honestly, the only thing is if Scotty becomes at least a decent scorer, a decent to pretty good scorer, he's going to be well worth that 4th pick. Because he's a great defender. He's very athletic. Yeah, he's a good playmaker. For his size, he's got a little bit of handle. Like, he's a very well-rounded player. So, a lot of two-way potential with Scotty Barnes. A lot of two-way potential, especially if you can get him to work on the offensive game and get that going and, get some capabilities there. That could be a very good pick at the 4th. But it could also bust if he doesn't really, develop an offensive game. But wish him best for the 6th side. Wishing him the best for Scotty. He's a great dude. Jalen Suggs goes 5th to Orlando. I know they were ecstatic. They sit him beside Cole Anthony and the rest. R.J. Hampton, Markel Fultz. They have so many guards. Somebody got to go, right? Surely, somebody has to go. But, yeah. 50,000 guards for Orlando. Overall, they honestly just had a good draft in general, if I'm being honest. The Josh Giddey went 6th to the Thunder. Kuminga went to the Warriors, which was a bit of a shock. The Magic drafted Franz Wagner, and everybody's on the Franz Wagner train. And if I'm being honest, I don't get the hype. I'll go back and I'll look at some of the footage and look at some of his tape. But every time I saw Franz play, like he was a good player, but it wasn't like I don't see this like, oh my goodness, unbelievable two-way player, all the ultimate 3-and-D guy that he's being hyped to be. I don't see it personally, but, I could be wrong. Maybe I just need to look at the footage. The Kings put a surprise and picked Davion Mitchell here, which was a big shocker. It's going to be interesting to see how it fits. I think Mitchell's better than a lot of people give him credit for, though, especially after that tournament. Zaire Williams goes to the Grizzlies. If he can play like, high school Zaire Williams, then that could be a good pick. Book Knight to the Hornets. The Hornets are going to be very exciting to watch, and really what I want to say here is, and really what I want to ask everybody at home is, who won the draft in your opinion? Who do you think won the draft? So YouTube, TikTok, whatever social media you're watching this clip on, who do you think won the draft? In my opinion, I believe the Rockets won the draft. They picked up JG, of course. Then they got Alfred Segan. Then they got Usman Garuba. Then they went and got Josh Christopher. I don't see how anybody could have had a better draft than that, if I'm being honest. Just first off, JG, he was my 1A, 1B with Cade. So you got that. You got Segan, who is the #1 international prospect. You got him at 16th. A lot of people had pushed him into the top 10, some even top 5. A lot of people are high on Segan. So that's a huge pickup. They got the defense in Usman Garuba, one of the best defensive prospects, and probably the second best international prospect. They got him with the 23rd pick, right? So that was a huge pickup. He's got international experience with Real Madrid, one of the top teams in Europe. So that's a great pickup to go alongside the offense of Segan and the offense of a JG. Both of those guys look to be willing defenders as well. Josh Christopher with the 24th pick. Now, I could post that slam, but you can go to it, right? Everybody knows that iconic slam high school mix and that iconic tournament. You saw it on Ball's Life as well. That Josh Christopher and Jalen Green had in high school with Vegas Elite. It's one of my favorite duos ever. And it's absolutely insane that those childhood friends are now drafted by the same team. It was like a pipe dream. Like, man, I remember saying when, they were playing together during that tournament, I was like, wow. Imagine if they could play together in the league. And then it happened, which is the coolest. Is so cool. It's going to be interesting to see how he fits, though. But I think that could be a good pick. It could be a very good pick. I know a lot of people aren't high on Gup's defense, but honestly, I think he's a better defender than a lot of people give him credit for. He's a very willing defender. He's going to give you effort. Josh Christopher plays with a lot of passion. And if he can get his shot to fall, he could be a very dynamic scorer as well, which is what he was lauded out of high school as a dynamic scorer. One of the best scorers in that class. And he could be one of the best scorers in this class. It's going to be an interesting fit with, KPJ, but that could be a lethal trio right there with KPJ, JG, and J Gup. Segan, Garuba, I like what the Rockets are doing. I really, really do. They're the people that won the draft. You can let me know, however, Who do you think won the draft? The Pistons just by getting Cade, if that's your choice. I saw a lot of people say the Magic had a very good draft. What else? Another big story, I guess, was Sharif Cooper. Sharif Cooper's fall, which was, of course, not because of... wasn't because of Sharif's talent. It's because of people scared about his size and the fact that he did shoot 39%. Even though he scored 21 a game, he shot under 40%. So a lot of people were worried there. Nobody can question his handling. Nobody can question his passing. Nobody can really question his talent. It's just there's some questions that need to be answered. So I understand why he fell. I think he fell a little bit longer than he should have. But nonetheless, good to see Coop go to the Hawks, be there with Trae Young. So they both have a chip. He goes back home. And yeah, gets to play with Trae. They both will have a chip on their shoulder. Should be interesting to see how that transpires. But yeah, Hornets also, they got Scotty Lewis. I said Book. They're going to have a very uber athletic team. That's going to be pretty fun to watch as well, similar to the Rockets. But yeah, let me know who you thought won the draft. And yeah, we can go from there. Okay, and last on the slate, ladies and gentlemen, the MLB. Joey Votto decided to go back into prime Joey Votto for whatever reason. The past week and a half, he just went. I don't know what happened. 7 straight games with a home run. At one point in time, 9 of his last 10 hits were home runs. I don't know what happened to Joey Votto, but he went ballistic for the Reds. It felt like every time he got up at bat, it was going out the park. It was insane, an absolutely insane run. Joey Bangin is what they were calling it. But yeah, Votto, future Hall of Famer, one of the best players of this past generation, and absolute legend for the Cincinnati Reds. But yeah, great to see Votto just hit this crazy form. But you know, that was cool to see. Big news in the MLB this week, however, was the trade deadline, and it was a wild trade deadline. Scherzer and Trey Turner. It looked like at one point the San Diego Padres were making the move, moving back. They were going to get Max Scherzer. But naturally, the Los Angeles Dodgers said, what? What? Absolutely not. The Los Angeles Dodgers are broken. If this was the NBA, this trade would have been nullified. They got Scherzer and Trey Turner. Nationals, why would you do this? Now, I know y'all got some top prospects out of it. You know, Hubert Ruiz and some others. But the Dodgers cannot keep getting away with this. They have no excuse for not winning the World Series. I don't care. They have a Diamond Dynasty type team. It's ridiculous. This looks like if you gave a kid unlimited money on a game and then they just went and signed. It's like turning this, that team is so ridiculously talented. They're so much more talented than every other team. They have no excuse for not winning the World Series. It's ridiculous. They have 4 Cy Young winners. And it's only 3 because of the situation with Trevor Bauer. But 4 Cy Young winners on one team. They got multiple MVPs on this team. They got... It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. The Chicago Cubs just blew it all up this week. They did get their chip, so I guess, you know, ultimately the rebuild worked, broke the curse, but then they shipped the big 3 away. Chris Bryant went to the Giants. He home runned in his first game. Javi Baez, he went to the Mets, joined his best friend Francisco Lindor in what's going to be an absolutely filthy middle infield. He hit a home run in his first game. And of course, Anthony Rizzo to round us off here. He heads over to my Yankees, who I'm about to talk about for some other stuff. He hits a home run in his first game. So yeah, just thrilling stuff for the Cubs. I know y'all are just in absolute agony right now. You've seen better days, Cubs. You've seen better days. If the big 3 results back to the best of the big 3, which for Bryant, Rizzo, and Baez is all MVP caliber, levels, then that's going to be rough. That's going to be rough. But, yeah, should be interesting. Sucks for the Cubs. The Yankees went crazy on the strikeout-heavy, power-hitting lefties during the trade deadline. We got Joey Gallo. We're going to lead the league in strikeouts, undisputably. Like, we're going to strike out a lot. We're going to hit a lot of home runs. We're going to hit it very far and very hard. But we're going to strike out a whole bunch. A whole bunch. I'm not convinced by this. We also have a giant outfield. I think there was nobody below 6'6". I think Stanton might be the shortest person in the outfield when Gallo, Stanton, and Judge are out there, which is, again, insane. But nonetheless, Gallo to the Yanks. We'll see how it works. Yankee Stadium should, I guess, help him. Shorter porch. But it doesn't really matter because he bangs everything anyway, right? He hits bombs. Just straight bombs. Has an unreal power, so it's not like he really needed a shorter fence. So we'll see what happens there. It's going to be interesting to see how those pickups and if that pushes us towards the playoffs. It's a very interesting playoffs race we're going to see down the stretch here. The NL West, though, is an absolute bloodbath. It is an absolute bloodbath. But, yeah, good luck to you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with all my major notes covered, we have reached the roundup. And we're going to start off with Bellator. Yes, Chris is talking about Bellator this week. There was a UFC event that happened this week. Uriah Hall got pieced up by Strickland. But we're going to talk about Bellator this week because AJ McKee is one of the top featherweights in all of MMA. And yes, he's in Bellator. So we're talking about Bellator. He wins the Bellator featherweight crown over the number one ranked outside of UFC fighter, the number one ranked pound-for-pound fighter in Bellator, the number one ranked featherweight in Bellator, Patricio Pitbull. Free air. A lot of people were claiming that he could beat, some UFC top-level featherweights, right? I wouldn't go that far. AJ McKee is the truth, undefeated. He submits Pitbull in one round. He is so well-rounded. He can strike, he can sub. I legitimately think he's one of the best featherweights in the world. And if he wants to come to UFC, it's going to be fun to see those type of matchups. He's got a featherweight. I know a lot of people would love to see him fight Max. I would love that too. You got Volk, Ortega. It's a lot of interesting matchups for him if he ever wants to come over to the UFC. But he's young. He's got time on his side. And it looks like he's about to, take out Pitbull, who's a double champ. Looks like he might go up to lightweight, take that strap too. We'll see what happens. But yeah, McKee, he just is a beast. He's a beast. So shout out to AJ. Lewis Hamilton didn't win at Hungary. Did not win at Hungary. But he did take back the F1 lead over Max. Max finished, I think, in 15th. Lewis went on an insane run to end and ended up on the podium. So, after Max's dominance throughout that portion of the season not too long ago, that probably about, first half, it looked like Max was really might pull away here. Lewis has reeled him back in over the past 2-3 weeks. And yeah, he's got the lead back. We'll see what happens next. It's looking like it's going to be an insane title race in F1. And of course, we'll be covering it here on the 815 Exchange. But yeah, shout out to Lewis on, reclaiming the crown. Dariq Whitehead. He's headed to Duke. Listen, man, our bagmen are just better than the G League's bagmen, apparently. Because Dariq Whitehead, despite a last-minute offer from the G League, is headed to Duke, the number 6 player in the country of the class of 2022. Out of Chicago, now playing for Montverde Academy, is headed to Duke. I wanted Dariq Whitehead so badly. His development has been insane. And I feel like, again, I've watched him since his freshman year. A little bit of him in 8th grade. The way he's just grown as a player, into his body. He's just become a true top 10 talent, honestly. And yeah, ecstatic to have him joining Duke. A great start for Shire in recruiting. A lot of people thought we were just going to fall off, or there might be a drop-off with no Coach K. But, our bagmen still got the bag. Shire's still a coach. We still got the Duke brand. And if we bring in quality players, and we can still develop them with the coaching staff we have, made up of former players, I think we'll be just fine, even without the GOAT. But yeah, Dariq, welcome home. Shout out to the Blue Devils. And with that said, I can't really think of anything else. Djokovic, more Olympic stuff. Djokovic did not even make the finals. Finally got beat. Got beat 3 times in one day, which has to be rough. But that's about it for sports and entertainment this week. That's it for episode 52. The last episode before, our 1-year anniversary next week. So, yeah, super appreciative of all the love lately. It's been insane. I feel like we're kind of hitting a stride. You know, I've been kind of down lately. If I'm being honest, been going through some stuff. But yeah, seeing the growth of the channel always kind of makes me happy. Makes me kind of lift my mood. I used to look at my YouTube studio and get a little frustrated, but now I look at my YouTube studio for my ego. I think is what I said to somebody. So yeah, that's cool. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you're enjoying the content and continuing to help this channel grow. I'm eternally grateful for you guys. You guys have been going crazy this past month. But yeah, without further ado, it was a wild week in sports. Got a lot of stuff for you next week, episode 53. But for episode 52, it's been your boy Ocho signing off.